Hi everyone, Ed Robertson, hoping you're enjoying the holiday weekend. We are taking a few days off ourselves, and we'll be back with a brand new edition of TV Confidential next week. In the meantime, we thought we'd bring you what we'll call a blast from the past, an excerpt from one of our conversations that you may have heard before, but probably haven't heard in a long time. We hope you'll enjoy.
Hi, this is Kevin Pollak, and you're listening to TV Confidential.
Don't you know you got to hang in there? And it's rough, I know, 'cause I've been there. Life throws us in.
Ed Robertson, along with our guest Charles Grodin, star of the Beethoven films, The Heartbreak Kid, Midnight Run, Seems Like Old Times, and many, many other film, TV, and stage productions. Charles recently released a new DVD called The Perils of Show Business. Proceed at your own risk. That not only features great stories about Charles's work with the likes of Johnny Carson, Alan Funt, Lee Strasberg, Elaine May, and Roman Polanski, but also offers hands-on, straight-shooting, real-world advice that will be invaluable to anyone who is considering a career in the world of entertainment. I have two questions that I would really like to ask you. One has to do with acting in general, and one has to do with Johnny Carson.
Okay. Would it be funny if we suddenly turn this into a game show and I have to guess what the question is? Acting in general, let's see. No, I'm going to let you ask. I am not Karnak the Magnificent.
Yeah, no, you are not. You are not Karnak the Magnificent. Although I'm going to ask you about Johnny in just a second. But no.
Okay.
One of the to you, if I hear you correctly, Charles, acting comes down to being able to listen to another actor,
right,
and then respond. Which reminds me of something James Garner said many years ago. Which he says, I don't learn lines, I learn thoughts.
I mean, you are required to say the lines. I mean, on this Law and Order, there was somebody right over to you, and I've done a movie written by Neil Simon. I've done two written by him, and one of them, he wasn't there, so it was a lot of improvisation,
Mm-hmm.
but the other he was, and you couldn't leave out a the, so you have to do that. But you have to get into a state the way you are in life when you're just with another person and you're relating back and forth. But the other thing you really try to do is you really try to make it, to somehow personalize this situation. So this Law and Order that I did, when they tell me all these things are going on, I'm the headmaster of a private school, and talking about molestations of the teachers toward the students, and I had to take that around. I'd never experienced anything like that, but I had to take it around like someone was saying it to me about something where I had responsibility. And by doing that, by taking it that way, that you're talking to me and it's my responsibility, that if you would say that I'm in charge of something and I'm allowing, child molestation,
right,
it's not hard for me to say, I have no idea what you're talking about. So it comes out that way, genuinely, because I'm actually thinking about, why would you be saying something to me? I have no awareness of anything like this.
Yeah.
So that's the personalization aspect of it.
Yeah, so there is some sort of processing going on.
Well, in my case, I would call it, you try to make the situation personal to yourself.
Okay.
And you must be relaxed enough to be able to listen to the other person the way you would in life. I had an interesting experience recently. It's off the point a bit, but in 1972, I played my first leading role in a movie, The Heartbreak Kid, and I generally don't watch myself, but recently I had it, I put it on, and I found I couldn't watch it because it's about a man who leaves his wife on his honeymoon because he meets Sybil Shepherd.
Right.
And I couldn't watch it because it offended me.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was, my moral sense came out over it was very well done. It was actually considered one of the funniest comedies. The AFI called it one of the funniest 100 comedies in the history of movies. So it was extremely well done, directed by Elaine May, and everybody in it was very good. But the actual concept to me, and I said it at the time too, but now I can't even watch it because I find it offensive that if your wife you consider her a real whatever problem on the honeymoon, you don't run off with a blonde on your honeymoon. You sit down and say, this is my problem. then about 3 years later, I was on Broadway in a play called Same Time Next Year, where, with the two characters, Ellen Burstyn and I, each of us are happily married, and we meet once a year for this sexual tryst. And I would never do that today. I would never accept a role like that today, because my moral sense is outweighing everything else. And while I had some sense of it at the time, over the years it has evolved into something, you could say it's a play, but I don't want to be involved with anything like that.
Right, it just
so
goes...
things change.
Yeah, things change just as we all change. We're not the same people we were,
25, 30, 40 years ago.
Exactly.
Of course, you're only 42 years old, so that's not really applicable to you.
But, well, close enough. Let's put it this way. I'm not the same...
You're different than you were when you were 2, let's just say that.
I'm different than I was an hour ago when we began our conversation, Charles.
Well, that's one of the problems when you interview me. You'll probably have to take a nap after this. Oh, my God, what was that? Yeah.
Well, as a talk show host, Charles, this is gold. I mean, I'm not an actor, but you kind of touched on this before. I mean, talk showness, for lack of a better word, is essentially conversation. It's listening, and I have learned that the more I do this, because I like to have things in front of me to guide things. That's the writer in me, but if I'm doing my job well, the next question will come naturally based on what
out of the conversation.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for listening to the TV Confidential podcast. If you like what you hear, please consider subscribing to the TV Confidential podcast, or better yet, give us a review on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, or wherever you listen to our podcast.
This portion of TV Confidential is brought to us by our friends at Front Porch Realty, the community of realtors in the Northern Bay Area of California that is committed to finding the solution that is best for their clients. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or looking to sell or lease your property in Northern California, call Karen Strain at 415-886-7411 or visit frontporchrealtygroup.com for more information on how they can help you.